Hello everyone, this is me Swathi. So today is my day 8 of assignment. So let's quickly move on to the question. The first question is explain with example different high level points which we write in the test plan. So first let me explain you what is test plan. So a test plan is like a detailed document that describes test strategies, objectives and schedule and some estimation and some resources required to perform testing for a software product. So let me show you the test plan. So these are all the test plans. The first step is analyze the product and design test strategy and define test objectives and define test criteria and resource planning and plan test environment and schedule and estimation. And the final thing is determine test deliverables. So let me explain one by one. The first is analyze the product. So in this step, without any information we can't test a product, right? So this is impossible. We must learn products thoroughly before testing it, right? For example, if the product under test is for example Swathi 99 is a banking website, we should research clients and the end users to know their needs and expectations from the application. So analyzing the banking website is we should take a look around this website and also review product documentation helps us to understand all the features, all the websites, as well as how to use it. So if we are unclear on any items, like unclear on any informations, we might interview customer, developer, and designer to get more information. So the next is the design test strategy or develop test strategy. This is in this It is a critical step in making a test plan in software testing. So, a test strategy document is a high level document, which is usually developed by test manager. So, this document includes test objectives and testing efforts and costs. So, for example, let me take the banking website itself. So, if before starting any test activity, we should know scope of the testing. If defining the scope of your testing project is important for all the stakeholders, giving them a confidence and accurate or correct information of the testing which we are doing, uh, and also a project member will have a clear understanding about what is tested and what is not tested. So to determine the scope, we must solve a customer requirement, project budget, product specifications, skills, and talent of our test team. Let me tell you the another example, identifying the testing type. So in this, it is a standard test procedure that gives an expected test outcome. That commonly used testing types are unit testing, API testing, agile testing. So there are many testing types, we know, right? For testing a software product, we cannot have enough efforts to handle all these kinds of testing. So we must set priority of the testing types. Um, which testing type should be focused for web application testing, and which testing type should be ignored for saving cost. So the third is the document risk and issues. So when the risk actually happens, it becomes the issue, right? So next is create test logistics, and here the test manager should answer who will test, and when will the test occur. So these kind of things happens in design test strategy. So the next is define test objectives. Here the test objective is overall goal and achievement of the test execution. So the objective of testing is finding as many defects or errors as possible. So we should make sure that software under test is bug free before release. For example, banking website, as I said, so we should check whether the website is working as expected without any error or bugs in real time business, and verify usability of the website. So the next is define test criteria. Here, what happens? It is a rule actually in which a test procedure is based on. There are two types of test criteria in this. One is suspension and one is exit criteria. So here, suspension is during testing, the activity test cycle will be suspended until the criteria are resolved. For example, if a team member report that report that uh, uh, there are 40% of test cases fails, we should suspend testing until the development team fixes all the failed cases or problems. So in exit criteria, what happens? It specifies that the successful completion of a test phase. Here, for example, 95% of all criteria test cases, all critical test cases must pass in this situation. So the next is resource planning. Here, resource could be human, equipment, and material needed to complete a project in this phase. So next is a plant test environment. Here, what happens? A testing environment is a setup of software and hardware on which the testing team is going to execute test each test cases. So the next, for example, to finish the task, we need a strong cooperation between the test team and development team, right? So the next is schedule and estimation. Here, so we need some estimation or the effort to complete the project, right? So for example, for a month, if we want to schedule the project, we can schedule. So this explains in the schedule and estimation. The final one is determine test deliverables. Here what happens? It is a list of all document, tools, and other components that has to be developed and maintained in support of the testing effort. So here, for example, we take a before testing what happens, and during test what we have to do, and after testing what we have to do. So the next question is explain boundary value analysis and with the help of example. So, boundary value analysis is nothing but it is one of the popular software testing mechanism. Here, what happens where testing of data is done based on boundary values between two opposite ends, where the ends may be like from start to end, or lower to upper, or from minimum to maximum, or maximum to minimum. So the boundary values of such a testing mechanism are identified by the values present at the extreme boundaries, that is from maximum and minimum value. So here, this is used to analyze the testing at partitioning boundaries, and also detect like abnormality that occurring during test cases. So here, what happens? I've shown you the example of boundary value test cases. Here, what happens if let us consider the age value from 21 to 65. So here the minimum value should be 21 and the maximum value should be 65. So if the if the valid here you can see the valid points that are 21, 22, 65, 64. So if we given 20 less than the we considered, it will show you invalid. So if we give the maximum value which we considered, it will show you invalid. We have to consider between 21 to 25, then it will show the valid test cases, right? So the next question is, explain equivalence partitioning with the help of an example. Here, equivalence partitioning is nothing but it is a technique of software testing in which input data is divided into partitions of valid and invalid values, or it is mandatory that all the partition must exhibits the same behavior. And here it is a condition of one partition is true, then the other condition of another equal partition should be or must be same, so must be also true. So if a condition of one partition is false, the other partition must be false only. They cannot be interchanged. So here in the equivalence partition are derived from requirements and specifications of the software. The advantage of this approach is it helps to reduce the time of testing due to smaller number of test cases from infinite to finite. So, for example, I'll show you. Let us consider an OTP number. We have to enter only the 6-digit number of OTP. So if we enter the more number like this, that is, if we enter greater than 6, it will show you invalid as I shown in the picture. So if we enter less than 6 also, it will show you invalid. If we show the exact value of 6 number, it will show as valid as I shown in the picture, as you can see, right? So this is what the equivalence partitioning. We cannot, as I said in the example, we cannot, if the first partition is true, the next partition must be true. So we cannot interchange, right? So the next question is, explain difference between smoke and sanity testing with an example. uh, so here, in the smoke testing, what happens, smoke testing is performed as certain that the critical functionalities of the program are working fine. In the sanity testing, it is done at random to verify that each functionality is working as expected. And in the smoke testing, it is exercises that entire system from end to end. And in the sanity testing, it is exercises only the particular component of the entire system. And in the smoke testing, what happens, this testing is performed by the developers or testers, but in sanity testing, it is usually performed by the testers only. So for example, in the smoke testing, for example, logging windows that is able to make to next window with valid username and password on clicking submit button. So in the sanity testing, let us consider an example for e-commerce project. So the main module will be uh, login page and home page, user profile and user registration. So if there is some defects or errors while logging the credentials, the tester will resolve it in this case. So that's all for today. Thank you so much.